My friends, in today's episode, I want to share with you a solution to a problem that so many of us face. It's a trap that's incredibly easy to fall into, but surprisingly hard to notice. And here's the funny part. Once we really dig into it, the mistake itself sounds almost ridiculous. In fact, if I were just to describe it quickly, you might immediately think, oh, no way, I would never make that mistake. But let me be the first to admit, I've made this mistake myself. And when I look around, I see people around me making it all the time too. The tricky thing is that it sneaks in quietly, almost invisibly, and before we know it, it starts to damage our lives. And the consequences? They can be serious, affecting our health, our success, even our marriage, family, or love life. That's how far-reaching this mistake is. It shows up in so many areas of life. But here's the good news. If we can recognize it, grab hold of it, and deal with it, then honestly, it becomes a huge advantage. It's like a life hack. So, what exactly is this mistake? I like to call it fishing in the desert. I know, it sounds absurd, right? You'd probably say, come on, if you want to fish, you go to a river, a lake, the ocean. Who in their right mind would go to the desert? There are no fish there. And you'd be absolutely correct. But here's the thing. In life, a lot of us act exactly like someone standing in the middle of the desert with a fishing pole. We're out there looking for something, but we're looking for it in a place where it almost certainly doesn't exist. And not only do we not find what we're looking for, we sometimes end up with things that are harmful to us without even realizing it. Let me give you an example. Let's talk about love and relationships. Most of us, when it comes to choosing a partner, have certain qualities we deeply value. Maybe you want someone who listens to you, someone who's kind, compassionate, loyal, caring, thoughtful. Of course, appearance often plays a role in the beginning, but once you're really together or married or living life side by side, we all know personality and character are what truly matter. We might not always say it out loud, but deep down we all carry these hopes that our partner will be kind, faithful, understanding, intelligent, and yes, compassionate. That last one, compassion, is one I've seen move people the most. Because when someone is compassionate, they'll stand by you when life gets hard. They'll understand when you fail. They'll show you kindness when you need it most. That's powerful. That's love. So let's say you've already set your goal. You want a partner with those qualities. Then the question becomes, where are you looking for them? Here's what I see. Some people go looking in bars, chasing after the most glamorous and attractive people in the room. Others turn to dating apps like Tinder. Now, I'm not here to bash those spaces. Some people do meet their partners there, and that's fine. But what I want you to notice is this. If your heart is truly searching for compassion, loyalty, depth, are those the environments where those qualities are most abundant? Probably not. It's not that such people don't exist there at all. It's just that the environment tends to reward other traits. Charm, nightlife energy, surface-level attraction. That doesn't make those traits bad, but they don't always align with what you're really looking for. And so we find ourselves fishing in the desert. Spending time, energy, and emotion in a place where the odds of finding what we truly want are very low. Now, if you're honest with yourself and say, you know what? I don't really care about compassion or listening. All I want is someone rich and attractive. Then fair enough, that environment might be perfect for you. And I'd even call that smart, because at least you're being clear about what you want and going to the right place for it. But if your true desire is kindness, loyalty, compassion, and you're searching in places where those qualities are rare, then you're setting yourself up for disappointment and honestly wasting precious time. I've heard so many heartbreaking stories from people who wanted one thing but chased another. They dreamed of a kind, loyal partner, but prioritized looks instead. And then, when life got tough, that partner walked away, and they were left in despair wondering, how could they betray me like this? That's fishing in the desert. And let me be honest with you, when people cry out about this in real life, their words are usually a lot harsher than what I just shared here. Sometimes it even comes with swearing, but since we're on the show, I'll keep it light and respectful. Still, we've got to dig into the root cause. And the root cause is this. From the very beginning, you chose someone purely for their looks, and you tried to win them over by spoiling them. In other words, it was an exchange. Be with me and I'll make sure you're comfortable. I'll give you everything. But what happens when you fail? When the comfort disappears? Let's be honest. The woman didn't change. It was the man who changed. At first he had money. Later he didn't. And since the relationship was built on that promise of wealth, once the wealth was gone, so was the bond. So to keep that kind of relationship alive, you'd have to stay rich forever. And yeah, I'll admit it sounds painfully transactional, but let's not kid ourselves. This happens all the time in real life. Even among young women today, 18, 19 years old, some are already clear about it. I'll only marry a rich man. Now, I'm not here to judge. Some people do find happiness in that arrangement, but I can only speak from what I've personally seen and heard. And in those cases, this formula shows up a lot. And in this episode, I'm not here to tell you what you should or shouldn't do. My point is simply this. Know what you want and then look for it in the right place. Don't say you want one thing, then go searching in an environment where you'll end up with something completely different. Don't go fishing in the desert, because if you do, maybe you'll drag back a cactus instead. And then you'll cry out, "Oh no, the cactus has thorns, it hurt me." Well, of course it did. That's what happens when you fish in the desert. At the end of the day, it all comes back to us. We wanted one thing, but we searched somewhere else. So where do you actually find compassion? Where do you find kindness? Well, there are plenty of environments that nurture those qualities. Take libraries, for example. Not everyone there will have those traits, but there's a decent chance. People who spend time reading often develop sensitivity, creativity, emotional depth, traits connected with empathy and compassion. Sure, they may not be the wealthiest or the most glamorous people. They may look simple, but they carry qualities that matter deeply in relationships. Or take other environments, religious communities, volunteer groups, charities. When someone not only gives money, but also spends their own time handing out meals to people in need, that says something about their heart. And if you're looking for a compassionate, kind person, the odds of finding them in places like that are much higher. See? Fish in a river, in a lake, there are fish there, not in the desert. Now, don't take my fishing example too literally. I know it's a little silly. I'm just using it as an easy way to explain the idea. Actually, this reminds me of a joke. Two friends were talking. One was married, the other still single. The married guy asked, "Hey man, why haven't you settled down yet?" And the single guy said, "I tried, I really did. But every time I brought a girl home, my mom didn't approve of her. None of them passed the mom test." So the married guy said, "Why don't you just find someone exactly like your mom? Then she'd have to approve." And the single guy replied, "I did find someone just like my mom, but then my dad didn't approve." See? Sometimes our fishing grounds just don't line up. All right, let's move to the second part of today's talk. Earlier, I gave you an example about love, marriage, and family. Now, let's take this same idea and apply it to something bigger, our purpose in life. I hear this a lot. People come to me saying they're not happy, not satisfied with life, that every day feels dull, repetitive, meaningless, no spark. And I know many of you listening might relate to that. Honestly, it's such a common experience. Unless someone is overwhelmed with busyness, almost everyone goes through seasons where life just feels flat. It may have happened to you in the past. Maybe it's happening now, or maybe it'll show up in the future. So let's bring back our fishing metaphor. You want a more meaningful life, a richer sense of purpose, something that excites you again. Here's the question. Where are you casting your line? Are you fishing in familiar waters or in unexplored ones? So what do I mean when I say the known zone and the unknown zone? The known zone is everything that's already familiar to you. Your daily routines, your habits, your current environment. It's the world you already understand. And here's the question. Have you found what you're truly looking for inside that known zone yet? Chances are, not really. So why keep circling around the same territory expecting something new to appear? Why keep casting your line in the desert? The truth is, you've already squeezed out most of the joy in what's familiar. And it's that very familiarity, even boredom, that leads you to the conclusion. Life feels dull, life feels empty. So if you want change, if you want something fresh, you've got to go fishing in the unknown zone. That means stepping into new experiences. Now, maybe those new experiences will work out, maybe they won't. But one thing is almost certain. Your life needs some kind of renewal. It could be in your knowledge, your friendships, your environment, or your relationships. Maybe it's time for something new to replace what feels old and tired. Because if you keep fishing in the same old spot, in the same old ways, you won't find anything new. So, what does this look like? It means experiences. It means signing up for that club you've been curious about, traveling somewhere unfamiliar, picking up a book you wouldn't normally read, joining a new class. Honestly, even the smallest changes can shift your whole life. Think about it. You travel to a strange new place. If you just sit there silently, nothing happens. But if you've trained yourself to open up, to say hello to the stranger next to you, who knows? Maybe you'll meet someone who truly understands you, someone who becomes a meaningful part of your life. That possibility only increases when you step into new waters, because those skills, those opportunities, they don't live in the old zone, they live in the new. There's a quote often attributed to author Neil Donald Walsh. Life begins at the end of your comfort zone. And honestly, that says it all. Life begins when your comfort zone ends. So if you want a meaningful life every once in a while, you've got to welcome something fresh. Keep the old foundations, sure. Nobody's saying you have to burn it all down. But you do need new experiences. And the core message of today's episode is this. Whatever you want in life, be clear about where it exists and go there to find it. Don't waste your time searching in the wrong places. There's another beautiful quote I love. One day, the risk of remaining tightly closed in a bud will become more painful than the risk it takes to bloom. Isn't that powerful? One day, staying closed off will hurt more than the risk of blooming, and I believe that's true. At some point, maybe today, maybe soon, you need to pause and ask yourself, what do I really value? What do I really want? The answers come quicker than you think. Let's say you feel lonely. Life isn't always binary, it's not just A or B. Sometimes the very opposite of what you're saying reveals what you actually need. If you say, I'm lonely, what you probably need is someone who understands you. There it is, your target. Someone who listens. Someone who gets you. So then the question becomes, where can you meet people like that? Go there. Step into those spaces, and eventually you will find them. Of course, it takes effort. It takes showing up. But if you do, you can create a deeply fulfilling life. So remember this, life begins at the end of your comfort zone. If you keep hiding in the safety of what's familiar, you'll never live fully. If you keep fishing in the desert, just because it's convenient, just because it's close by, you'll never find fish. At best, you'll come home with a cactus and complain about the thorns. Don't do that to yourself. Know what you want, go to the right waters, and cast your line there. And that's my hope for you this year, that you'll step out of the desert, find the right waters, and discover the kind of life that truly fulfills you. Thank you so much for listening, my friends. I'll see you in the next episode. And remember, don't go fishing in the desert.